As creators, there are so many things that we have to learn to be successful in this industry, from managing our content and our audience to our personal life and mental health. In Coached, a sub-series of Soulcial Scoop podcasts by Soulcialmate, we work one-on-one with a member of our private creator coaching community, the Soulcial Suite, and you get to be a fly on the wall during our call. I'm Kristen Bousquet, and I've been a full-time creator for over 3 years and have brought in over $350,000 from sponsored posts and content creation collaborations with brands so far. Soulcial Scoop is the podcast where we teach you, the entrepreneurial creator, to turn your online influence into a profitable, self-sustaining business. Let's dive right in. Hello, my friends, and welcome to Soulcial Scoop Podcast. We teach entrepreneurial creators to turn their online influence into a profitable, self-sustaining business. Every Tuesday, you can catch the weekly news and an interview with an industry expert. And every Thursday, you'll get to be a fly on the wall during a personalized one-on-one coaching call with one of our members. My name is Kristen Bousquet, and as always, I'm so excited that you're here. Today, I'm here with my lovely friend, my dear friend, Karissa Brown. She is a creator inspiring women in their 20s to love themselves through their wellness journey. If you're interested in getting a free one-on-one podcast coaching call, you can become a member of our private membership community, the Soulcial Suite. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Karissa, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm super stoked.
I'm so excited. Guys, Karissa and I met maybe early last year, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe the year before that. But we have been friends online for a while. Karissa was in one of my first programs ever, and we honestly have just been great friends since. She came and stayed at my house for a little while. We had the best week ever. We actually just went to her wedding, so we are very excited to be here today.
Oh, yes. This is so much less nerve-wracking because you're my friend, so that's good.
Exactly. So I know that you post a lot about wellness, about health, about mental health. But for those who don't know, kind of give us an idea of who you are and what your content typically looks like.
Yeah, so I am a 25-year-old entrepreneur. So I like to basically create content around my growth journey. Living in your 20s is probably the hardest thing I think I've had to go through. And it just 5 years in and it just keeps going. So I started to make content just kind of tailored around the things that I wanted to improve with myself. And I wanted to share the journey. And yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Literally, I love how you were like, living in my 20s is probably the hardest thing I've gone through. Just living.
No, literally just living. And like I said, it hasn't stopped yet. So I'm like, I have 5 more years. Let me try to figure this out and just share the journey along for anyone else who's struggling to get through their 20s as well.
Yeah, which is everyone in their 20s. Yeah. So it's perfect. So some things that you wanted to go through today, we're kind of talking about treating this as a full-time job, like more strategies for time management, also staying consistent with your niche, and when you're struggling to show up, how to actually show up, and then how to have a little bit more consistency with sponsorships. And you are a full-time creator, so I think these are a lot of things that full-time creators definitely deal with that are kind of difficult to get through.
Yeah, I definitely am struggling a little bit. I'm in like my 2nd year, I think, of doing it full time. And so now you're like wanting to grow more when it comes to finances or just like exactly what it is that I want to do for the future when it comes to my career in general. Because I feel like it's so easy to just say like you're a content creator, but like what you do with that is a whole different story. Yeah. So I'm really just like feeling the pressure.
Yeah. And it's crazy too, because even for me, like I've been doing this for a long time and like I don't think that pressure really ever goes away, because the hard part is with social media, like obviously, I mean, you talk about this a lot, like we see what everyone else is doing and we're like, I want to get as much sales as they're getting. I want to get as much followers as they're getting. I want to get as much views as they're getting. So it's almost like even when you feel like you've hit a milestone where you're like, okay, that's what I was working so hard for, there's like always more room to grow. And so it almost feels like this endless cycle of like, I need more.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And I don't know if that ever goes away, because like, I mean, I still feel it. I'm sure people with millions of followers still feel it, because there's always a next level at the end of the day. So when it comes to kind of the first thing here, how to use social media more like a job, clocking in, clocking out, strategies to manage your time better when it is your full-time job. So I'm going to ask you a question here, and I have an idea of what your answer is going to be.
I'm nervous.
But for anyone listening, what is your typical routine like now in terms of like working? Like, do you clock in and out? Are you just like literally 24 hours in a day going? Like, you're always creating content? What does that look like?
So because I feel like my niche is, like I said, like my growth journey, which is my life. I feel like I'm always having to film my life every day, all day. And so right now my routine is, first of all, I have a lot of perfectionism that I know I have to kind of work through, because I'm that girl
Don't
who,
we all?
like, I work for myself and I'm up at 5 a.m. every day, because I'm just like, if I'm sleeping, I'm not working. So so I wake up at 5 a.m. and I will do like my whole morning routine. My morning routine will literally take 3 hours because I'm filming every single part of that routine. And so what I'm finding I'm having issues with is that by the time I'm done filming that routine, it's like I've already worked 3 hours in the day. But realistically, that's just my morning. And so I'm finding it hard to like push myself to continuously do more when I feel like from the time I wake up at 5 a.m. to the time I go to bed at 9 p.m., I'm creating content, whether it's editing, whether it's, filming, scripting, whatever. And I just recently did my podcast as well. So adding that to it, I just feel like I have too much to do to not have it structured. And I don't know how to do that because, like I said, my life is my job.
Right. And that's something that I think every content creator, no matter what your niche, especially like with yours, where again, like everything that you're doing in your day really is part of your growth journey, which is your niche. But even fashion creators, home decor creators, like whatever it is, we're all expected to show up all day, every day. So like, it's hard because no matter what your niche, I think that's something that a lot of people just struggle with. First of all, I think what you said about like your morning routine where you are, like you're spending 3 hours of your morning, like going through your morning routine, which should be your time for you, should be your time clocked out outside of work. Because it's part of your niche, you have to be recording it. And then it's not your time anymore, though. Like it almost is like it's taking your clocked out time and making you clock in.
Yeah.
So I feel like your first step is like, I know that you want to create that content while you're already doing it, but if that's your self-care time, I feel like it would be smart for you to try not to create content around that time. I think it might make a little bit more work for you, maybe, I guess, in the long run, thinking about like, okay, well, if I'm, making my morning smoothie, I could have just recorded it when I did it. But also, like, if you're getting up every morning and spending that time recording, now you're not taking the clocked out time to like enjoy the moment of like putting this smoothie together and like being with your thoughts, because like you're not with your thoughts anymore. You're thinking about like, oh, is this angle weird? Like, can you see what I'm doing here? Like, should I move the camera here? Like, you're not
literally
clocked out mentally.
And then I start to feel bad if I don't film. Like, I'm like, okay, this day, like, I'm going to take this morning because I have enough content for the week or whatever. And I will sit there and not film specific things. And I will be like, what the heck? Like, that would have been a great shot, or like, that would have been great. And it's like this toxic cycle I really can't get out of, I guess, like that hustle mentality of like, I know that this is an opportunity to get more views or to get somebody to see my content. So like, why would I not do that? And so I have to, again, like you said, kind of find that balance of like what works and what doesn't, because I did try to like batch some content. Didn't really work for me. I didn't enjoy it because I enjoy my routine. I don't enjoy doing it twice. Like, it's hard enough to do a routine, period. But to have to do it like twice in a day is not like.
So like, okay, here's another option. So what if you were to, like you have your morning routine 7 days a week. What if you were to take like 2 days a week where you were like, okay, these are the mornings that I'm going to like catch all of my footage for like morning routine footage. You know what I mean? Because then maybe if it's only like 2 days that you do that, then you have 5 other days where you can actually enjoy your morning routine. And when you are having those 2 days of like, this is my morning routine creating time, you're still batch creating at the same time.
True.
You don't actually have to do it twice. But what you could do that would be really smart, it might, again, make those mornings a little bit longer, but less in the long run, is you could always, even like you're making your smoothie or whatever, make half of it in one outfit, go change into another outfit, move the angle a little bit, so like it looks like it's 2 different days, or it looks like it's 2 different clips, but at the end of the day, like you are still making the smoothie once,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So maybe something like that might be smart, because I feel like the hard part about, being a business owner who you are your own boss, you are the one who's making the rules, is like you could literally do all 7 days of the week with your morning routine recording. And then again, you're not spending any of that actual time with your thoughts and like clocked out. And I think that that's a perfect recipe for burnout. You're going to be so miserable. I mean, like, that's why we're talking about it today. It's a problem, and you're recognizing that it's a problem. So maybe batching, but like not batching in a way where you have to do more work.
Right. Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm definitely going to try that.
Yeah, I would try and see how that goes. I mean, in general, I guess that's kind of like solving the morning routine, possibly, like once you try it out, see how it goes. But in terms of like just your entire day, like clocking in and out, how do I time manage a little bit better? So I actually just saw this article from this website called Todoist. They're like it's an app. I'll have to send it to you, and I'll link it for everyone else who's listening. But basically it goes over like all these different productivity techniques, and it talks about like some that I've never even heard of before, but it essentially goes through and it's like, here are all these different techniques. Like this one is really great if you're someone who procrastinates a lot. This one's really great if you're someone who gets easily distracted. And it like kind of goes through all these different techniques so that you can try different ones. Like I know I talk about like eat the frog all the time. That's like what I usually like to do. You get up in the morning, like what's the stuff on your to-do list that you're like, I have to do now. I like don't want to do it, but I'm just going to do it and get it over with. That's one of the techniques. There's another one where it's like time blocking, so you go and you look at your to-do list and say, how much time realistically will each of these tasks take me? And then you literally go into your calendar and like put them in as appointments, like prep my podcast episode, 30 minutes. Okay, that's from 1 to 1:30. 1:30 to 2:30, record my podcast episode. And like once 2:30 hits, like, you've got to be done with it. You can't sit there and like, okay, now I'm going to edit it, and now I'm going to do this, and now I'm going to do that, because then you end up taking, more time out of other tasks. And that's how you end up getting nothing done at the end of the day.
That's literally what I do. I scripted, filmed, edited, and pre-posted my podcast literally this morning, and I was just like, girl, you keep doing this, you're not going to be doing this for too long. Like
literally, because by the end of it, your brain is mush. And you're like, how are you supposed to go do the other things that you have to do in your day today?
Yeah.
You're like ready to clock out, right?
Exactly.
So, there are different methods. Like I think it's hard for me to just be like, you should do this, because what works for me could not work for you and could not work for someone else. Mm-hmm. But I'll link that. It's actually, they have like a quiz, so you can take the quiz and look at the productivity methods that it shows you based on what your answers. Yeah, this will give you some good, techniques to try. And it literally is like, paragraphs and paragraphs about how to actually work this into your life. So I'll send you that and I'll link it for everyone else. But that would probably be finding a good productivity strategy for you is all you need to do. It's just a matter of trying the different ones and figuring out which one fits.
Makes sense.
So the other thing you wanted to talk about here was staying consistent when your niche is your life and you're struggling to show up. So like we talked a little bit about staying consistent with actually creating, but what about those days when you don't want to get up and do your morning routine, but your morning routine is a huge part of your niche? So is that kind of what you were getting at there?
Yeah, exactly. Like, or even when I'm having like for instance, again, my whole thing is about growth, and maybe there's like a 2 or 3 week period, because I talk a lot about mental health, and I've been diagnosed with a lot of different mental illnesses. And so sometimes I will go weeks without doing anything. And I hate that.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be the case, but that's the reality of every few months of my life. It just happens. And so I feel guilty to, and almost like a poser to post like all of these motivational, inspirational things that are part of my growth journey, because I feel like I'm being fake because I'm not in that season, like at that moment.
You don't feel like you're growing right then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if I do like be vulnerable, and a lot of times like I'll post me crying and stuff, like I literally don't care. And it will make me feel better, but I'm not going to do that for a full 2 weeks. You know what I mean? I'm not going to post like Debbie Downer stuff for a whole 2 weeks. Like I can post, you know, hey, I'm struggling here, but we all know like the reality of social media, you are literally freaking out irrelevant. And the moment that you step away, like you're done. You're done.
Right.
So that's how I feel.
And that's the pressure of it. Yeah. That's like one of the hardest things I think about is like you feel like you have to keep pumping out content. And sometimes you pump out content that you don't actually care about, you don't like, you don't think it's special, but you're like, I just have to post something. So you're posting to post, you know, at the end of the day. And again, like this is something that like across all niches, I hear people talk to me about all the time. So you're definitely not alone there. I mean, even for myself, sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to. So I think there's a couple of things that you can do here that could be really helpful. Obviously, first things first is, again, having content kind of backlogged, like where you are, again, making your morning smoothie and you're like, let me move this camera in 7 different angles of me making the same smoothie. You're only going to use 1 clip for that video that you're posting tomorrow, but maybe now you have 6 more clips that you can use and like, you know, put them in a Google Drive or a Dropbox folder or something where you can pull from them when you need them.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I never thought of doing that.
That will be super, super helpful. Cause then you're like, you don't feel that pressure of like, if I can't show up today or for a few days or for a week, I can still post, you know, like I still have something. I mean, for TikTok, especially, something else that you can do, and like we've talked about this previously, like take some of your old videos and repost them. You know, like if you have on TikTok, like I know for you, you're posting 3 times a day, sometimes 5 times a day. So like you've got content, sis, like it's there. So even if you have to go scroll back from 2 months ago and see what are some of your best performing posts, you just download them and repost them again. You're going to go out on the FYP and those people maybe have never seen it before. So don't be afraid to recycle content like that first.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's important.
That makes sense.
Another thing that you can do too is like try and find types of content that don't like make you show up like full blown creating a whole new piece of original content. Like for TikTok, for that, I especially like to do like a Stitch video or like, you know, a duet or something like that, where like you're still posting, but like, you know, you can literally still be like sitting on your couch. You don't have to be like dressed up, like you have no real like plan of outlines of what you need to say and what you want this video to look like. It's literally just like maybe here's someone giving their opinion on like this mental health technique or what, I don't know, whatever, and then maybe you're stitching it and being like, this is my opinion, but like
that's great.
You don't have to plan out your opinion. Like you can just sit there and say it, but that's you showing up, that's you creating content. Not every piece of content has to be your best piece of content at the end of the day. I mean, obviously you want it to be relevant. You want your audience to actually get something out of it, but it doesn't have to be the most highly produced video every time you create one, you know?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think that could be something that definitely helps. But also, and I know you said this, you don't want to spend like, you know, if you're going through this week or two where you're like, I'm just not feeling it, like I'm not feeling like myself, I don't feel excited or motivated to create. I know you don't want to bring people down for 2 weeks, but also I think, especially for someone like you and your niche, those are like such important things to talk about, you know, like maybe every day you're like, so this is how I was feeling yesterday. This is what I did. 1 little step, 1% better today. And now I'm here. Did you hear me say 1% better? I'm reading Atomic Habits.
Oh, girl. I literally already knew. Period.
I knew that, like, as soon as I was reading that, all I could think about was, like, Karissa's going to be so excited for me because she loves this book.
It's literally going to change your life. It's going to change your life.
Okay, but you're 1% better, you know, like maybe you use those videos to kind of like hold you accountable and say like, okay, I'm recognizing that I feel shitty right now. I don't feel motivated. Like I want to get out of this. Let me use my TikTok account or my Instagram account to hold me accountable to get, again, a little bit better each day. Like I don't want to sit here and complain for 2 weeks. Okay, what can I do today and maybe talk about in a video tomorrow that can help me be a little bit better. And then you do the same thing. Okay, in the last couple of days, I did this. Today, I was feeling a little bit better. Here's one other thing that I did. And the best part, though, is that, like, I know you're going to think that you're, like, whining and you don't want to be complaining and, like, a Debbie Downer. But, like, your people are there because they're struggling with growth. They're struggling with mental health. They're struggling with overall wellness. Like, they need to hear you struggle, too, because they want to see how you get out of it. And again, you don't have to be an expert where you're like, here's how you get out of your depressive episode. Like, but it's just more of like, here's my personal experience and like how I'm dealing with it. It's okay if you are feeling like this too. Like, you know, like that's normal. We all have to go through times like this. You know, like I think those are important moments for you to share, but also to hold you accountable too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely. So the last thing that we wanted to talk about here was how to have more consistency with sponsorships. So tell me a little bit about kind of how you're feeling there with sponsorships. And for everyone who's listening, we're recording this like basically beginning of December. So
yeah. So like I said, I've been doing this full time for almost 2 years now. And last year, I think I made about $15,000 in my first year, which was fun. I had like a second job,
which was fun.
And this year so far, I've made about 26,000, which is great. A lot more, but not good enough for me, bestie. So, I'm just like trying to figure out, because again, when I was talking about like my daily routine, things like that, there was a point where I was pitching like to 10 brands a day. This was way before you had your anti-pitch method. Like this was way back when. And that burnt me out so freaking hard. Like, if I'm being completely honest, I have not anti-pitched. I haven't pitched. I haven't done any of that in like 2 months. And my finances are now suffering for it because I'm only getting the sponsorships that come in. And I found that like this is my least favorite part of the job, is really like negotiating and trying to get sponsorships because I put so much worth onto it, because it's the only thing that's giving me big bucks. I make a little bit of money from Instagram Reels and a little bit of money from YouTube and TikTok. But I think that's maybe like $1,000 a month together, like all together. And like, that's not going to do anything for me. So I have this immense amount of pressure, and like, I'm scared all the time because I don't have these sponsorships coming in. And then I'm getting all of these sponsorship opportunities, but they're like $200 for a TikTok, $300 for a TikTok. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I cannot do that. My ego will not allow me to do that.
Also, it's not like by the time you take out taxes and expenses, like, what are you making?
Literally,
you know?
Literally. So I'm trying to figure out, I guess, like either a way to have more consistency with sponsorships, because right now I'm in this place where I just started a podcast. I don't have the mental capacity or the time, especially with me going away for a month, to like sit down and make a whole membership or sit down and create a product. Like, I'm trying to figure out how to just make a consistent income before I start adding in something else that's new. So I was wondering if maybe there's some tips that you have when it comes to specifically just sponsorships, because I'm wanting to, I don't want that to be my only thing right now, but I know that it is. So I kind of want to work with it.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I think in a perfect world, the idea would be that we have so much incoming partnerships that we don't even have to worry about pitching. Like, once you're at that point, you're like, yes, I've made it. Like, I'm good. That's a great position to be in, but most people are not in that position. So first things first, again, recording this around November, December time, this has literally been the slowest holiday season for literally every single person I've talked to.
I thought it was just
every
me.
single person, Karissa.
Okay, good.
Literally not just you. It's me. It's you. It's every single person that I've talked to. And I talk to a lot of creators every day.
Okay.
So I think you have to think about external factors. First of all, what are the things that are happening outside of social media, outside of our businesses? You know,
Yeah.
let's look at our economy. Let's look at
I
our
know,
economy.
Bessie, but I was thinking about like COVID, right? And I was like, dang, like COVID was it. Like we were boosting because people were broke, but they were still spending money. But I guess people are really like, they've had it. They don't have anything.
But here's the thing, you know, like a lot of brands are afraid to use their money, you know, to pay creators because they don't know if they're going to get it back.
Right.
But the thing with COVID was like they had more money to spend in a lot of cases because they were taking it from in-person events. They were taking it from not paying for an office anymore.
Makes sense.
There were a lot of expenses that they didn't have anymore, so they could feel a little bit more comfortable spending a little bit more money. So I think now it's not that they don't have the money, it's just that they are a little bit more nervous to use it. So I think that's making a big difference. You know, they have to be so much more picky and choosy about who they're working with. They need to know, all right, if we hire this person, like we're for sure getting our money back. Like, and that's why a lot of brands right now are like tapping back into people they've already worked with because they're like, okay, well, when we worked with this person, it went well, we made money, like we trust their content, like great experience, whatever. So I think first things first, when you're having times like this, when it is really slow, tapping back into brands that you've already worked with is a great way to not really do a ton of work on your effort. You're not like finding emails and like finding the right person to reach out to and all this stuff. Like you're going back to people you already have contact with, you know?
Yeah.
And you know that they already pay you what you are already okay being paid because you have before. You know, like there's a lot more that is like, I guess, less variables in that situation. So reaching back out to brands that you've already worked with, and even if it's just a one-off partnership, hopefully you can try and, you know, let's try in 3 months and see what happens. Let's try 6 months, whatever, so that you don't have to every month be like, oh my God, I don't have any partnerships. At least you might have some that are a little bit more long-term. But the other thing too, and like, I hate to say this because it's hard because at the end of the day, like when you are trying to make connections with new brands, unless they are coming to you, which like there's only so much you can do to really get them to come to you, unless they are coming to you, you really do have to go to them, you know? And so first things first, I think you need to look at a way to make it sustainable. You pitching 10 brands in one day, not it. Not sustainable. That's a lot. That is a lot. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it would take like 3 hours a day because, you know, you can't just like send the same email. So how many do you usually do? Or like, do you have a system?
Sis, I have not pitched literally this entire year because I have anti-pitch, girl. I have literally.
Oh my gosh, I know, but like I don't have enough like backing for that. Like the.
Yes, you do. Listen, here's what you need to do. You need to take, again, atomic habits. We're thinking, what's one little thing that we can do every day? We don't need to pitch all of the brands in one day. And I do the same thing too. I said to myself at the beginning of the month, I was like, what we're going to do this month is we're going to pitch 5 podcasts every day. I literally did it for one day and I was like, I can't do this every day. And I was doing 5 and you were doing 10. So listen, you don't have to do that much. What if you were to say, okay, today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make a list of maybe 10 brands. 10 brands, even less if you want. 10 brands that I would like to work with in the next quarter. And then what you do is the first week you say, okay, I'm going to reach out to 2 or 3 of these brands. And not even reach out. I'm going to go find the right person on LinkedIn and I'm going to hit connect. One step. Easy step, takes you literally 5 minutes, right? And then maybe you do that for 2 or 3 brands. Maybe the next week you go and you say, okay, I'm going to, you know, turn on post notifications for them on Twitter or on LinkedIn, whatever. And I'm going to start interacting. I'm going to put a timer on for 10 minutes. And I'm going to spend 10 minutes 2 or 3 times a week on LinkedIn, just looking at these new people that I just connected with, looking at their posts, commenting, you know, so excited for this release, whatever it is, commenting on their posts. But like, these are little things that you do each day. You don't have to do this all. The thing is, I think so many creators, when they want to connect with brands, we want instant gratification. We want to connect with them. We want to talk to them. We want them to get us a partnership and we want to do it now. It's not
Impatience.
in 99% of the time, it is not going to work like that. It has to be, it's slow and steady. Like you need to introduce yourself to them in a way that's like, I'm here. Hi, I'm here.
Okay.
Hi, I'm here. And then before you know it, when they have a campaign come January and they're like, oh, well, this is a wellness campaign. What about that girl that's always commenting on my LinkedIn post? Like she always is talking about fitness, or like I saw she commented something about fitness and this and that, or her audience, whatever, like, and so at the end of the day, you just are planting little seeds, and then when there's a campaign, that's when it grows into a partnership, and okay, like my seeds that I planted are actually worthwhile now. You see what I mean?
So just 2 questions from that. One, do you do this with big brands? Because like, let's say I want to work with Gymshark. Okay. Gymshark has like millions of followers. If I comment every day, you're telling me Gymshark's going to notice me. Like, do I do that?
Not on Instagram.
Okay. So
not on Instagram. And this is why I think like LinkedIn, Twitter, and not just like going to Gymshark's LinkedIn. Go on to LinkedIn and try and find who's the person that does the influencer marketing at Gymshark. Connect with them. Okay, now you have Julie Smith's, LinkedIn connected to, and Julie Smith posts, hey, Gymshark, we just released this new line of no sweat showing through shorts or whatever the frick. And okay, and then you're like, oh my gosh, you go and comment, wow, Julie, that's so awesome. I actually, I talk about fitness on my page all the time. And one thing I hear from people is that they don't want to wear these leggings because they don't want their butt sweat to show through or whatever. You know what I mean? And so it's not you being like, oh, wow, Julie, that's so great. We should do a partnership. It's you being like, my audience would love this, or da-da-da-da. Like, I'm so excited for this so I can share it with my audience who loves fitness. And then again, like, how many people are going to be commenting on this LinkedIn post? Probably not many compared to Gymshark's Instagram post, new butt sweat proof shorts.
Literally,
and then,
that's
there's
so true.
5 million comments. So I literally just did this with Thinkific. Thinkific is a company where you can create courses. I'm creating my course there. I said to myself, this is a great company for me to work with. My audience would really love it. I went and connected with one of the guys I found online who said, influencer marketing or social media coordinator, whatever it was, for Thinkific. And I sent him a message. I connected and just sent a message saying, hey, I'm a fan of Thinkific. I've been thinking about hosting my course there. Just excited to keep up with you. Done. Connect. Whatever.
So you're not asking them for anything. You're just kind of just like letting them know you're there.
Literally, yes, exactly that. Because how do I know if I message him and I'm like, hey, we should work together. Do you want to pay me?
Like, won't respond. Right, exactly.
He probably won't respond. But also, like, how do I know he even has a campaign going on right now that, like, he might just be like, oh, we're not working on anything right now. Talk to you later, like every other brand does. It has to be the right brand, the right creator at the right time for the right campaign. Like, how are you going to make all those things line up? You're not. So it's better for you to just say, hi, I'm here, I exist. So then when there is a campaign, they're like, oh yeah, that girl comments on our LinkedIn all the time.
Yeah.
Like, she's always there. She must love us. We should give her the money. You know what I mean?
That makes so much sense. I definitely am going to try that. And when it comes to like, let's say like a product type business, like obviously I assume it helps if you create content with maybe one of their products before doing that. But like, I definitely find the struggle with like, I want to work with Skims. Have I tried Skims? No. Can I afford Skims? No. But I want to work with Skims. So like, it makes me feel like kind of bad. I don't know. It's like, do you ever like have situations like that?
Yeah, I mean, if there's something where like, okay, I want to work with this brand, but like maybe I don't have it personally. Maybe I like can't afford to spend the money just to make a video that I don't even know is gonna get me what I want. Yeah, I mean, in those situations, I think there's nothing wrong with like sending a DM, or maybe you like, maybe you do. Okay, if you send the DM, you're sending a DM, maybe just being like, hey, I talk about wellness and and because my audience is super into taking care of themselves, I feel like Skims would be such a great way to like, show them that self-care can be, you wearing a nice pair of comfortable clothes, whatever. You write them this cute little message, send it to them on Instagram or something, and just be like, are you open to giftings? Like maybe you just say, I'd love to create a video for you guys in exchange for, a couple products or store credit, whatever.
Yeah.
And like that, if you have all these followers and they're like, yeah, all I want is a freaking whatever Skims, like a little set, a cute little 2-piece set, they're going to be like, sick, no problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's not,
and I guess
it's not anything crazy to them.
I guess I never do that. Like I never ask for like, hey, like, do you have any gifting like opportunities? No, I never take anything gifted anymore. And that's why I think it's so interesting when I see all of these like PR unboxings and things like that. I'm like, girl, I literally get no PR like at all. Cause I always say no. Like I always say I don't want gifted stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, like, it's hard because in some gifted scenarios, they're like, we require this, this, and this from you. If they're requiring anything of me, it's a no.
Yeah.
But if they're like, yeah, we'll send you this stuff and you're like, sick, I'll make a video. And you guys have kind of like just a really chill, easy agreement. Like, okay, whatever. But also, like with that, you're not giving them usage rights and all of this stuff. Like it's literally just like, I'll mention you in a video or whatever. But then you do a really good job on this video. You get everyone to comment on it. And then you have some leverage to go to them and say, hey, I created this video. Look at how many people wanted to buy it. Read the comments. Like, look at the views. Let's do something more formal together. And then you can kind of like try and turn it into something that is paid. So I think that's a good idea. I mean, the other option too is like, you could always show the website, you know what I mean? Like screen record without you actually having the product. You could be screen recording, or you could stitch someone else wearing it and make it into some sort of content. Like there's other ways around it. There's other ways around it, but you gotta get a little outside the box with it sometimes,
I think that's my issue. I'm always trying to kind of follow what everyone else is doing, that I'm missing that little spice that you have.
Well, that's what I'm here for, girl. I'm here to help you through all of the things. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope you're feeling a little bit inspired now. You've got some new ideas to kind of take with you and try out and see how it goes. Obviously, keep me updated on everything.
Yes.
And for everyone listening, if you guys are interested in getting your free one-on-one podcast coaching call, you can become a member of Soulcial Suite, our private membership community. And from there, you'll be able to get your podcast episode where we'll go through anything that you need help with. So, Karissa, thank you so much for being here, bestie.
Yes, thank you for having me. This was so much fun and so helpful.